Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome. Pre-market here at SpartanTrading.com. Normally on Wednesdays, we have we open the room up on a YouTube live stream. Welcome to those. You're joining us through that. I just love what we do. I mean, if you can't find enjoyment and excitement with these markets, then what can I tell you? Okay. I love seeing people long, picking tops. And I'll continue to explain to you why that's just not a healthy thing to do, right? One of the research people that I follow, actually I might start subscribing, but he did a bore down on a couple of things that answered a few questions for me, at least on the S&P, which I think is fun. Overnight, though, we did get an API build as opposed to a draw. Like I say, this is a random walk theory, and throwing a dart against the wall, you actually have less chance of being right on it. It's just, you just don't know. It's like the Wheel of Fortune. Just flip it and see what happens. Machinery, this is a big deal. Japan. I'll be honest with you. I actually was going on for my master's and then PhD in East Asian studies when I was young, before things changed. I got into the markets. I don't understand why everybody's piling into Japan the way they are. I keep, saying my country of choice, and it's really nice. I mean, I've been saying this for quite some time now, multiple months, about India and Mexico, my two fan faves in terms of outside the United States. And I don't understand why everybody got their jiggy going on with Japan. I mean, it's a little country, island, and there's just so much that can be done. There's so much multiple decades worth of problems, and the fact that the government owns the most amount of shares in the stock market. Well, what could go wrong, right? Anyways, machine order is cratering, right? And then PPI. This obviously, when the producer pricing just goes down, that's beneficial for manufacturers, right? And even that year over year. And don't forget, our PPI is there's so many things that can put as tailwinds for this earnings season, and I think a lot of people are getting wrong. I've kind of intimated that, and I continue to intimate that. And they continue not to understand we've never seen this sort of setup before. Okay, that's just a fact. Since we were created as a nation, and we had an economy of source and government and et cetera, et cetera. And I think you kind of understand this, but I'll continue to express myself that way. And it's just in the United States in terms of the setups. But a lot of these things are also can be. Good morning, son. Good morning. Not today, son. Friday. Oh, okay. And then you see here the German auction, Bund auction 2.64, higher rates, mortgage, 30 years 7.07. That's why I gave you my narrative, right? I said that anybody who had a 30-year mortgage at 2.5%, what they would do is instead of selling their house and going into a 7% mortgage, just redo it. And that's Home Depot, Lowe's, stuff like that. And I think that narrative is pretty actually accurate. There's no way I would trade out of a 2.5% 30-year mortgage for a 7% new home, shiny home. I just wouldn't. I just would do what I have and improve upon it. India more data coming out, manufacturing. Oh my goodness gracious. 5.7% expectation, 1.4, industrial production, 5.7, inflation rate. Now this is a bit bugaboo, right? That's going up. I mentioned that I felt that we had a multi-month, possibly year low in the commodities setting up. I still believe that to be true. Now, if you look in terms of commodity super cycles, you can have round trippers in it and still be within that super cycle. I know it doesn't make sense, but it's true, right? By definition, we're still in the commodity super cycle, and we probably have 6 to 7 more years to go in it. Okay, CPI. Okay, so yesterday, the close, the last 5-10 minutes, shocking. John shits and giggles. I bought the SPY at 6 cents, right? Those calls, and they get up to like 60 cents. I didn't expect it. But once again, it's a thin market. I don't know what size went through, but talk about, wow. A lot of people are talking that the CPI was leaked. I actually agree with Twins that some people would just say, throwing in the towel and saying, I'm desperate. I just, I'm not ready for benign CPI. I guess that's what they were saying. I don't know. Also, we do have the beige book coming out. And that's important. I want to see what that looks like in terms of at 2:00. And Mester's going over at 4:00 about the new Fed Now business in terms of for the banks, financials and stuff. So, but the beige book will be important in terms of the different regions. And we know that some of these regions, like, the San Fran, the Dallas region have been very soft. And those are the 2 largest manufacturing regions in the United States, California and Texas. And I'm actually more interested in Texas than I am in California. Okay, FYI. Look, we also see that the shift from California and North Carolina, I think that's going to continue to happen. Okay, in terms of a lot of these large companies, basically going to North Carolina, that's becoming purpler and purpler, and we'll see how it plays out. But really fascinating setup. So keep an eye on the beige book coming in. All right, so we really have the earnings on Thursday, pre-market. Yay! How exciting is that? Fed, we know they're hiking. They said 2 hikes, and we're going to get 2 hikes, right? This is the crazy town narrative. Again, please shoot me. The same way I, for months and months and months, said the crazy town for January 2024 rate cuts was ridiculous. We got crazy town going on right now, okay? They're piling into down here. By the end of next year. The only way that happens is if we have a very deep recession and the Fed starts to quantitative ease. There is absolutely statistical probability is slim to nil. I would put it at maybe 10%. All right, so let's talk about this. Don't forget, all right, we have this monster balance sheet that they have to unwind. And then we have the Fed funds, okay? Now, I guess in a delusional state, they could both cut rates and continue to aggressively decrease the balance sheet. That would be a net offset of 0 in terms of the impact on the interest rate side, in terms of the economy, right? I'm just saying, this is just absurd. I don't get it. They continue to get this wrong. And that's why these people saying, the market's done, it's over with. If you only have 7 stocks that comprise the vast majority of a move, this is why I've said the indices are broken. NASDAQ is saying, yeah, it's broken. Okay, and we have to do a special rebalance. This is the 3rd one ever done. S&P should do the same thing. Okay. You cannot look at the the PE multiple of an index that is representational of only 7 stocks. I'm just saying, it just drives me crazy. Carrie's going to visit China. Look, China's got a problem because of the carbon emissions and stuff like that. And Germany's European area, EU is saying, hey, you tankers, we're going to tax you for the carbon emissions. I know it's going to happen, yeah. Okay, let's talk. So here's some rotations, right? Excuse me. You see money going into, this is what it looks like right now, right? Net notional buying, net selling, okay, ETFs, consumer staples. And what are they buying? Industrials, et cetera, et cetera. Dividend yields, earnings yield, value, okay. So let's talk about this. I continue to pound the table. You have stocks. Let's take example, Domino's Pizza. I was absolutely positively sleeping, okay, when Domino's Pizza sold off the way it did. I think that's a legacy type trade. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right? And I said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, okay? So I bought Domino's Pizza at $3.13, okay? To me, that's a legacy trade. So to me, something like a Domino, so like Roku. So I say to myself, I don't know what the catalyst is going to be, okay? But these things should be higher, but I don't know what the catalyst would be. Well, Roku showed us that with Shopify. So good management, okay, will find a way to basically create growth for their stock that's at a valuation level. Good management, Domino's Pizza, Uber Eats. I mean, that's what I'm saying is, how can you not be freaking ass excited about some of these names that are cheap in both value and growth stocks? All right, so this is a guy that I've shown you before, Maverick. I follow his Twitter. Okay, so he actually has a research paper that's actually pretty good, and he does his deep dive is always on the S&P, right? So, and you can actually access this on Twitter through his if you follow him on Twitter, okay, and subscribe. So the question has always been on some of his stuff. All right, so this is what, okay, look at this. All right, if you look in terms of the SPY, right? Apple has constituted 259 points in the SPY. Microsoft has constituted 243 points, basis points, okay? I'm just saying, NVIDIA. So if you have, and then you have this drop off down here, okay, on a percentage basis, okay? These few representational of the index as a whole. And you can look at this, you know, I'm just saying, I'm not looking at the ETF, you know, but this is the ETF, right? I'm just saying, how the hell can you look at the SPY PE multiple and draw any conclusions? How can you? You cannot. The problem is, and I will continue to discuss this pre-market, this is what I do from a bigger, picture point of view. How many stocks on the ETF? If you go down, okay, and you look at the drop off, right? 4%, 3%, normally it's 1%, okay? If you basically have so few dictating the PE multiple, it's broken, right? That's why I said Monday morning, NASDAQ doing a special rebalances was crazy town ass bullish for this market. Why? Because now you would see individuals, institutions, asset managers looking for value/growth names in that lower tier outside those 7 names, which is what we needed to see on the breadth side. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying. And then you look at these, UNH, Pfizer, Schwab, AbbVie, Chevron, CVS, J&J. CVS is the only one that I'm aggressively in right now. But if you look at the healthcare names, right, they're laggards. Somewhere along the line, okay, money comes into it. But this is not surprising in the sense that, remember when we were in a bear market, consumer staples, healthcare names ripped, right? Now we're seeing that money rotational flow. Eventually it will come back. I don't know when, but it will. But this is what's important. Now, another thing. Okay, this is it. The S&P target points to the most bearish second half outlook on record. Most bearish second half outlook on record. Go wrong with that. So this is not how tops happen. Tops happen when everybody is wildly swooning. Every single day you come in and the market's higher across the board. All sectors are up. It's just day after day after day, week, month, right? This is that wall of wood that no matter what everybody says, okay, people are not all in. If basically, right, if strategists are looking for an 8% decline in the market for the next 6 months, what does that tell you about their positioning? Just asking. God, that's crazy. Oh, what else we got? Let's see what else we got. Mortgages, not much. Baba, eBay, price target 137. I think it goes a lot higher, just because of its. Look, I have said for quite some time, I am an investor in China. I have Baba, I have Baidu, I have JD, I have the Golden Dragon, okay, I'm even in CQQQ with hedges. I always have a hedge on, and the hedge I have on is Yang. Always. Okay. Tesla got a nice little upgrade there. All right, so let's take a walk on the wild side. This is why, and I actually remember this. Okay, for those of you who are not old enough to remember what happened during the oil embargo in the 1970s, okay, there was an agreement that was reached, okay, with Saudi Arabia, okay, that basically said, and this was what actually Kissinger's doing, that they would basically protect Saudi Arabia as long as oil was, you probably didn't think this, well, how did oil get built in dollars, right? Well, this 1970s is how it started. Okay, this meant, right, more dollars since every country, okay. All right, so this is that narrative I keep telling you, and I told you this 6 months ago plus with BRICS, okay? This massive, and this is the brilliance of Xi, no matter what you say, think about the idiot. Well, I shouldn't say he's not an idiot, he's brilliant. But he's a dictator, okay? So this is his brilliance. He started with the Belt and Road Initiative, and if your eyes are glazing over, this is why I say macro knowledge, history matters, okay? Understanding, not today, but 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So down the line, why this matters, okay? This is going to be, since 1970, the first decline we're going to see, okay? There's going to be a flush of dollars, okay? And this is why some of the brightest of the bright are looking for the largest position, right, is short the US dollar, is because we are now starting to see oil, stuff like that, local currencies. We're going to have, I think we're going to have gold, I think we'll have crypto supporting okay, these commodities, etc. Right. Don't forget in China, there's futures on oil that are not US dollars, but gold. Okay. This is the beginning of this unwind of the 1970 policy. Okay, with the US dollar build in crude. Now you can say I'm full of whatever, but I've been right so far. Okay, in terms of my vision of what these, how this looks 5-10 years down the road. We already see it. We already see it. This is the culmination will be a lot of these Arab countries, okay, that want to join BRICS, okay, will start to offer, we're already seeing it in their local currency as opposed to US dollars. Big deal. Big, big deal. Big major internet companies, yay. Let's see what happens there. Okay, like I say, you can see here, 2023, we haven't seen this low in the commodity spot prices since, well, down here. Okay, just saying. Turkey, I agree. This is crazy that Turkey should be the one that allows Sweden to NATO. And then, while Ukraine can't join NATO because of that war. You know, I'm disgusted with NATO, and well, you know. Anyways, investors think interest rates have more room to rise. Duh, no doubt. This is just reversion to the mean. Read the doctor treating Wall Street's addiction surge. They're starting to come out with articles on this vaping. This is a big deal. Even from a marijuana point of view, this is a big deal. I mean, I don't know how it goes. Set to test consumer demand. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. So a lot of these consumer staples type stuff, doing 30% off. So stuff that I normally would subscribe and save on, that would normally be 15%, I'm now 30%. They'll give you 3 orders, so you can do 3 times, right? So stuff I would normally buy, I'm now getting an extra discount on. And I think that's brilliant on their part. Okay, but don't forget, a lot of these are name brands. Okay, Procter & Gamble stuff, all that stuff, they're discounting that. Okay, so that Procter & Gamble is saying, yeah, okay. You're also seeing it through Target, Walmart, et cetera. But I think I'm not, a lot of travel stuff's on sale. I'm not particularly interested, to be honest with you, in large ticket items, but you know, Massachusetts, I like this idea. Okay. $1 billion location data broking industry. So this would explain why some of these cybersecurity names have been going up. Now has the highest incarceration rate. El Salvador. God. Longevity clinic will see you now for $100,000. What the hell? Anyways, okay, Morgan Stanley chart is flashing the biggest stock sell signal in recent memory. Once again. Now, this is a big deal in the sense that, okay, we're talking about liquidity, right? Domestic liquidity measure. Okay, so the problem is right now, we've got a ton of money in money markets, right? In CDs and stuff like that. And we also have, you know, all this money wrapped up into the bond market as well. Okay, I don't know how this plays out, but I do agree. But this is that inversion issue as well in terms of, you know, money supply. Also with them, well, anyways, it's a problem. I agree. And Janet Yellen's been shouting this about, you know, M2 money supply sort of stuff. Okay, so this is true. There is a tightening. The liquidity is really bad. She's right about this, and it's a global issue. I don't know how that fixes itself, to be honest with you. I don't. I'm not that bright. Okay. Shipping cuts full year guidance. Okay. Palantir, okay. Expand collaboration. See what I'm saying? Collaboration. Okay. Actor report that UK may need to do a new probe of Microsoft deal. Kathy Woods, Domino's Pizza soars after striking global delivery deal with Uber. Well, but this is what it's all about, friends. If you know a company, and I know Domino's Pizza really well, okay, same thing with Generac, okay, CVS, all these things, okay. I said, look, I'm willing to accumulate, okay, right, and make these legacy trades. Right. So Generac, I'm up over 50% on that. Anything, I mean, I thought, below I got it at 88. And then I added a little bit to it and it changed my weighting to 98. But regardless, okay. And I know that there's this whole thing about Generac. It's still, and they have these power walls, solar walls and stuff. But I understand that it's still really expensive. So if you want to buy a little bitty Generac, okay, just to charge your car or whatever, doesn't take much. $400, $500, still a lot cheaper. Pivots to Europe and doubts amid doubts U.S. tech-led rally has legs. Oh, who knows? When you've got these other things, like I say, the shorts, this is up 12% this morning. Who knows about the tech? Who knows? Right? Now, this is a problem in Canada, and I agree. I mean, this is the negative amortization. I mean, they get a problem with these. I don't know. DraftKings, another one that, Twins is happy dancing, 3%, but I'll take my 11%. I mean, look, I follow, when Twins pounds the table on something, he's an asset manager, and we know he's brilliant. He and I came with the same conclusion in terms of buying in October. And look, don't mess with us when both he and myself, Citrini as well, we pound the table on this ship, okay? We were trained I was trained, even though I moved from trading very fast in terms of creating these ideas, right? And then don't forget, we didn't have these computer-driven models, right? Someone had to create these, investment strategies, right? And, me, the human mind, right? Anyways, when we see something, okay, you gotta, it's not even a leap of faith. This is years, decades and decades worth of combined knowledge telling you it's okay, right? I still, I understand. Okay, I understand. Okay. But I'd still rather be in other names than Oxy right now. Understand. I am looking at this Mercado Libre, but I have to do some research on it. Okay. All right, earnings today, we know nothing much. DoorDash, Uber, I guess they're going to get the ruling out. I don't think it's out yet. We'll see how that plays out. We know that 8:30. We'll see what that looks like. CXM, and then we have, like I said, Master talking about that, and then we have the beige book. So let's go back here. We have approximately a minute to go. All right, we'll just keep going on here. Hot or not? Yeah, we know. Emerging market funds that exclude China are beating the index. Now, this is that guy Einrich was saying that the emerging markets would have a monster rally, a FOMO type rally similar to what we had that he shouted out in October. This is Einrich, okay, not the other one, Robert Miner. This is Einrich, dude. Okay. So far so good. He's right about that. Right. Let's see what this looks like. It's built in, but why not, right? Let's just see what happens here. Mexico industrial productions. Wow. Love Mexico. All right. Let's see what happens. I don't think there's going to be any surprises here, but you never know. Right? It would be kind of crazy town, right? Here we go. Now, why hasn't this? Let's update this. There we go. Flight 0.2, 0.3, better than expected. as expected, lower than expected, lower than expected. Well, maybe they didn't know what was coming out, right? There goes the bonds, there goes gold, there goes crude, and there goes the market. Okay. Maybe they did know. Maybe Tom Lee's not right about the S&P. The SPY, 100 points. No? Cool beans. I love it. I had a little shits and giggles on SPY puts, but I got a lot of, I'm really long the market right now. So for me being long, I have like 3% cash. That tells you how long I am right now. All right, cool. Nice. But we have an up opening, right? You know the drill on that one. So the Sun Power is really interesting with that Raymond James 64 outperformed a strong buy. Just let the market, wow. Cool beans. I have a little bit, I have SPX L calls on. I have a lot of stuff on. Anyways, let's see what happens here. That's everything's rallying. I love it. Everything's rallying. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Very nice. Cool. See how long it lasts though. It should last a while. TJX, I love TJX. I'm in the equity on this one. Hold the buy. Nice. DraftKings, you can see right here. Okay. So twins, if you're in, I know I don't know if you heard me yesterday, but Tom Lee is God. ZROZ. I bought some ZROZ yesterday, twins. Yeah, I love it. Just let it go, friends. Just let it go. Everything's rallying nicely. Let it go. I love it. Everything's up across the board. Bond, come on. That's a joke, right? I downgrades. Cisco, but higher price. Silk Road Medical, ATVI, Stifle. Price, but it's 95, right? So basically, we know that now. Who knows what's going to happen at the those Brits, right? What do we got? Old Dominion, O'Reilly, Cintas. Right. Let's see what's going on here in terms of our breath. Beautiful. Look at that. Red. So everything is just running out. Yeah. XLF, XLI, XLK. We don't care about that, you know. But come on, we want these. XLP, XLV, we want everything. IWM, everything. See what my TNA is doing. And IWM, nice. Yeah, this is going to be profit taking on this one. US core, yeah, better than expected. It doesn't matter. They're still going to raise rates. Okay, but it puts a nice floor right now on the bond side, right? Anybody knows that? All right, what do we got? And here you can see, believe it or not, this is the highest one. Turkey, Pakistan, iBuy, OIH, yada, yada, yada. This will, obviously the bonds, that's at a 4. Okay. And then you can see here, IWM, right? And then if you look at 3 days, this is fantabulous, friends. 5 days, fantabulous. Look at that. 2 years at 1. Anyways, yep. The TNA that I talked to you about yesterday, which is ripping for me right now, broke the 50 EMA. So, but it's a weekly, so it has to stay above it. You gotta love it when you're in a bull market and you got a perma bull shouting it out. Just gotta like it, right? Just gotta like it. This is why I'm saying, how can you not be in this market? How can you pick tops in this market and keep selling? Get your face ripped off. How can you not have a peace? So yesterday, it does appear at the end of the day, someone did get the CPI number, because that what happened yesterday didn't make any sense. I mean, even from a standpoint, it was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, okay, here we go. Ta-da! So the 10-year, look at this. Wow. So this is steepening, right? This is all, look at this, 2-year, 5-year, right? Inversion still. God almighty. So this is steepening, but look at the inversion steepening here, guys. Front end 2.5. That's crazy town. Wow. Wow. Okay. Roger, dude, expand that list. What's not? I mean, seriously. I mean, I've got in my portfolio alone, which has probably 100 stocks in it. It's pretty hard. The only thing that's red right now is my hedges. Literally. That's the only thing that's right, is my hedges. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Just saying. All right, so we got this inversion going crazy town. Canada yields a lot. Globally across the board. Yeah. Okay, so you know the drill here. This is bullish for the market. So here's the 2.5. This is not what we're concerned about. It's the here's the 5.10. Okay. But it's the and here's the 5.30, right? This is the problem. Okay. We'll see how this plays out. Okay. What's going on with my FAS? Well, that's up too. Everything's up. But Domino's Pizza is my winner chicken dinner today. If anyone else is in it, congrats. All right, look at that. This is interesting, friends. Look at this. This is a yearly range here that we got going on, getting rebuffed. Impressive. This is crazy town bullish for the global markets. Dollar. See what's going on here. Look at that. Oh. Okay. See what's going on with cryptos. Once again, this is the most bullish I've been in terms of cryptos, and I've mentioned this just about in my narrative. I think gold cryptos is the place to be outside, and the US dollar is not. I'm continuing to have this. Okay, so let's take a peek. I'd say 85% green. I am really in the commodities, you know that. Nickel, copper, all kinds of metals, you know that. I'm on the agricultural side, I told you that. With the El Nino, that's very, very bullish. Okay. We'll see. We'll just see. Anybody having fun? I am. Natty gas, rebuffed, but still hanging in there. We'll see what happens. I think it holds it here. If it breaks the 10 EMA on the weekly, I'll basically get down to a very small position. I only have a 1% right now. So just so you know, just crude. Breaking out. Love it. I'm so, you know, okay, this is before Spartan pops on. Look, this is a teachable moment. Okay. Commodity, being in the commodity, I started in the commodity market in 1979. Okay. it teaches you patience. You have to have a long-term narrative. If you're going to be right or wrong, right? As long as there's no macro event that basically shuts you down, okay, on this, right? You have to have conviction to accumulate.
All right, Beth, ready to pop on here. Alrighty, guys, morning. What's up? Let me just pop up the screen share here. We'll get right into it. So if you guys are new to chat and have already done so, make sure to click on that. I'm just going to pop up the screen share actually. 1 sec. Let me do this first. Alrighty. There we go. So there we go. If you guys are new to chat and have already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're going to pop in chat. So it'll look something a little bit like this. First area to go to, guys. Click on is this disclaimer section. Click on that, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section. Scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you see a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both. In regards to risk reward, guys, most important ratio in trading. So definitely worth checking out there. Continue to scroll down. You're going to see the summary of how this chat works, breaks down these channels work on the left-hand side. So you can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. That is important to know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have options rules that were used Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. Definitely important to understand that. Below this, we have the SPX rules that we use every single day for the SPX ideas. Definitely worth checking out there as well. Below this, any of the small account less 10K, breaking down if you do have a smaller account less 10K, some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You have a better chance of growing that smaller account. And then last but not least, guys, the how to pick ideas from an options directory perspective, which breaks down how to overlay your own criteria on top of the ideas so you're left with only things that do make sense for you and your account. All right, let's take a look what we got going on today. Pre-market tickers on watch, a couple different things. Tesla, DPZ, NVIDIA, Microsoft, ZM, and the AULT. So Tesla gapping up in sympathy with the CPI. DPZ, Domino's strikes deal with Uber to list Domino's menu. Company says, and they think it's going to generate over $1 billion. So it's gapping up nicely on that. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Zoom, gapping up with CPI, and then AULT. Alliance issues letter to shareholders. One of the main quotes, the book value of a share stands at approximately 80 million or $80 per share. In addition, on March 31st, 2023, reported total assets of 527 million, which at this price would be pretty undervalued. So it is pushing up a little bit on that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're going to be looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and DPZ. All righty, let's take a look. All right, so Tesla, DPZ, let's have a gander at these two. So Tesla, a little bit of a flag break on the hourly setup here. Looks pretty decent. Pivot to the upside today is going to be 272.25. Level holds 278. 876 to 284.32. Unable to hold 269.82. 264.82 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today if this pivot point is able to hold. That is Tesla. Let's take a look at this. Tesla, in my opinion. Let's take a look at this DPZ. Big move. Absolutely gorgeous to the upside here. All right, let's have a gander at this. So big gap up on DPZ. We might have to look at it on a daily. No, this is fine. Pivot to the upside today. I'm going to have it as the 387.01 level. Level's able to hold 394.90 to 403.46. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 380.80 to 370.56 on the downside. Leaning bullish out the gate, looking for a pop and then some topping to come in I think it's going to have to get a little bit of a pullback on some profit taking after the morning pop. So that is Tesla, that is DPZ. Let me take a screenshot of these two guys. Let's move on to the next. Tesla, DPZ. Okay, next two guys we're looking at is going to be NVIDIA, Microsoft. NVIDIA, obviously, nice little flag break to the upside setup here. This is exactly what we need to see on these semiconductors for them to run. Or continue to push, I should say, in short term. So good stuff there. 427.45 pivot level holds 432.25, 440.16. Unable to hold 419.44, 413.91 downside leading bullish neutral. Nice little flag break on the hourly there set up. And we'll see if we get continuation here. Leaning bullish on it, looking for continuation push, in my opinion. Like that, NVIDIA. All right, Microsoft. Figured I'd bring this one up because I'm going to be staring at it probably today. So it's probably a decent one to keep on your board. Okay. Let's take a look at this thing intraday. Oh, yeah. Nice. So curling off the lows, trying to reclaim EMA support, which it's currently just above. 335.40 pivot level holds, 338.06, 340.69. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 332.55. If that level breaks, we can see further continuation lower into the 328.15 on the downside, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. Okay, next two. Oops. Zoom and AULT. You know, I had to zoom up because I do like this name on the daily chart. So let's have a look at it. Zoom 69.90 pivot level hold, 70.85, 71.59, unable to hold the 68.63 to 67.50 on the downside, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. So that is Zoom. Let's take a look at AULT. 718. Interesting chart. Float 121. Market caps like 5 million. I'm gonna look at their balance sheet. Something seems completely off then. Okay, pivot to the upside, 720 pivot to the upside today, level holds 814, 910, unable to hold. We look for pullback towards 645 to 567 on the downside. Gonna be leaning bullish neutral at the gate, and then we'll be looking for a little bit of a topping. I'll use 720 as the pivot, like I said, and we'll go from there. So that's Zoom, that is AULT. All right, let's take a look at the spine of the fang. Nice. I talked about this yesterday. I said, positive CPI will break the range. And lo and behold, we're above it. Okay, so 445, 35, going to be the pivot to the upside today. This level is able to hold. We got room towards 445.98, 447.14, and then I'll give us more levels as we break through them. Unable to hold 440, 456, 443.82. Leaning bullish, looking for continuation push higher. Need to hold that break of the pivot to the upside. Everything looks good though in that regard, and we'll kind of go from there, see what happens. But I am liking the chart. So that's SPY. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple 189.25 pivot level holds 192.75. Unable to hold 186.63 downside, leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push higher today if the pivot point is able to hold. Apple, let's take a look at Amazon. $129.78 pivot level holds. We got room to, for continuation into the 132.70 to 136.38. Unable to hold 126.19, 120.77 downside. Leaning on the bullish neutral side today, in my opinion, looking for a continuation push higher, like the chart for a continued push. Little downtrend break. Looks good to me, in my opinion there. Assuming the pivot can hold. Netflix, beauty as well. So this is getting towards the top end of the flag range. It did just break this head and shoulders right there, 444.22. Room right now to 448.66 to 450.88. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards 439.77. I guess if that breaks, we have room a little bit lower to the 435.74, then 430.97 downside, leaning bullish neutral there. That's Netflix. Let's take a look at Meta. Finally starting to push. I really like this Meta. I've just been waiting. I've been saying it all week. I think this is going to break out. I think this is going to break out. We got the CPI behind us, so definitely helps. Okay. We've got the good amount of room. Let's take a look at this thing intraday. Top end resistance looks like 315, which we may not be able to see yet. Okay, so 331 pivot level holds 306.54 to 315.22. Unable to hold 294.35, 288.66 downside, leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today on this. Let's take a look at Google. I say leaning just bullish actually on Meta. Google. You suck. Okay. 118.86 pivot level holds room towards 121.51. 121, sorry, 15. That level breaks. We got room for continuation higher. 122.76. Unable to hold 117.69 to that 115.65. Leaning bullish, neutral, truly neutral. I think it's going to just be a grinder higher. It's had a lot of trouble, getting going on any sort of bounce this week. So not overly positive on it yet until it shows me it wants to turn. So that's Google. Let's take a look at the VIX QZWM. All right. 14.11 pivot, levels able to hold 15.10 on VIX, unable to hold 1298, not leaning any particular direction on the VIX, but you know, I like to use it for direction on the market inversely. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Let's take a look at the Qs. $370, 74 pivot level holds 373, 35, 375, 14. Unable to hold 368, 44, 365, 47 downside leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. That's the Qs. Let's take a look at the SPX. Okay. So SPX 44.59 pivot level holds 44.92, 45.32 upside, unable to hold 44.39 to 44.14 on the downside. I'm going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side there as well. Looking for a grind higher as long as that pivot can stay intact. So that's a SPY. That's a thing. Those are the individual names that we are looking at today. Going to go ahead, pass it over to South Beach guys while I type up that pre-market action plan. Then we'll do a quick little recap before the open there. So South Beach, you ready? It's all yours for now, my friend.
Okay, hey guys. Okay, so let's see what happened here today. We got these numbers. First, let's look at the charts. Okay, the S&P is in really great shape, as I've been saying, what, for weeks, if not months. Qs same way. Okay, so the charts are really bullish. No reason to not have a bullish stance. So we got the numbers in these inflation numbers. Let's see what they look like. Okay. CPI numbers come in a little better than expectations, right? Year over year, 3% versus 3.1. Month over month, 0.2 versus 0.3. Core is 4.8 versus 5. And month over month, 0.2 versus 0.3. All right. These numbers are definitely a step in the right direction. There's no equivocating that. The only issue that I have is the Fed with this 2% target. Okay. You know, 5% or 4.8 or whatever number you're looking at here is a far cry from 2. So how are they going to handle this? And that should be interesting. Okay. But those were the numbers, beat expectations, and S&Ps are futures are rejoicing on the news. Let's see how that affecting the bond market today. Okay, so we have that 10-year, which peaked above 4% last week, right? It's down 0.06 at 392. So clearly a step in the right direction. And you have that 4 as a as resistance. Okay, and then you have the 2-year down 0.11, which is more. So the 210 inversion should be down a little bit, right? And where is that? 92.8, 86. So that's kind of sort of the low end of the recent trading range, but it's still pretty high. On the short end of the curve, we are seeing a little bit of softness. The 1 year's at 5.37, the 6 months at almost 5.5. So not much going on there, but that should be expected, right? The Fed's going to raise rates at the next meeting. And then the question is what happens from there, which of course we don't know. All right. You look overseas and their rates are down across the board, commensurate with like typical of ours, more or less. Okay. Their 10-year in London is down 456. And it's down about 0.12 across the board, 0.11. 210 inversion stays more or less about the same. And that goes with all these European markets. So rates are down across the board. That's a positive, right? Inflation still around 5%. Let's call it, slightly less. The Fed wants 2%. And how do you get from 4 or 5% to 2%? Okay, is it going to happen because things are getting better and all this other stuff, basically, the supply chain and all that other nonsense. But here we have something really interesting developed, which is wage inflation, which I'll talk about in a minute. But let's finish the looking at everything. Okay, so we have oil up just a little bit. Okay, 50 cents. It could have been up more than that, I would imagine, based on the Fed may be easing a little bit, but we'll see. Natural gas is in that tight trading range. There's nothing going on there. Gold is up probably on a weak dollar. Copper's in that trading range. And these agricultural commodities, for the most part, currently are not really relevant. Okay, maybe some of these precious metals are, rare earths, those kind of things. But, cocoa, rice, oats, all that other stuff, they're doing what they do. Okay. And it doesn't really affect what we're doing at the moment. All right. The dollar's down against North America, down against the yen. The yen has had a really strong move against the dollar. And a lot of guys in Japan, right, are buying US based interest rate stuff because their rates is close to zero. And if the yen starts getting strong, these guys are going to get squeezed a little bit. All right. So the yen, that's the yen, and the Chinese currency, which 7.25 last week, is down to 7.18. The euro's 110 and the pound's almost 130. So dollar weakness we see there. That goes with gold, right? And when dollars are weak, generally these cryptos are up a little bit. And so we have Bitcoin up 0.5%. Same with Ethereum and Solana. Who gives a shit? Okay. Foreign markets, we have FTSE up 1.5%, DAX up 1%. Looking in Asia, Nikkei was down a little bit, so was China. Hong Kong was up a little bit, 1%, and Taiwan was basically flat. Okay, so there's your backdrop. All right, so you got the banks and the Fed. You have 4 Fed governors speaking. It'll be interesting to what they say. All right, a couple of guys have spoken already, which I'll get into in a minute. But it's a good number. There's no sugar, there's no equivocating that. The question is, how do you get from here to 2%? And what do they need to do to get there? They're going to raise at the next meeting, right? The odds right now are 93%, maybe a little less after this number came out. I just looked at it, but it could be a little less. So it looks like you're going to get a 1/4 point raise. That's clearly in the market at this point. And you can make the argument that maybe 2 are in the market. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we get 1 in a pause. Who the hell knows? But we got a lot more road to travel before they have to make that decision. Okay. China, a couple of things out of there I'll talk about in a minute. Russia, crypto, we discussed Mr. Market yesterday. Good trading day. I mean, markets are really strong. I think a lot of guys are holding Herman. Basically, they're not invested enough. And on any weakness or anything, they're just trying to get more invested. Dow was up 300, S&P, and the transports had another big day, okay, up 220 points. So you look at that average and you say, look at that move, guys. And on the weekly, it looks like, clearly cup and handle breaking out. The chart is very powerful. Okay, so you had high PE tech was really good. Big oil and gas, banks and insurance were all good yesterday. And it was clearly a good trading day. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay. Are yields topping? I would kind of agree with Twins that there's a real good chance that yields are topping here, but we'll see. Okay. But I do think they're going to keep them higher for longer. So maybe they just keep them here to see what it does. I don't know. I think like I said, we have a lot more road to travel before we see what's what. I think we get a 1/4 point, in the July meeting, and then there's a lot more stuff to look at prior to that. So I think that the verdict is not in yet, but we'll see. All right. Mr. Market, we discussed what's working. It's been a great trading market, guys. So, like trading from the long side. What else can you say? All right. Things are working. Okay, so let's look at some news that came out over the day. China wants to, this is really weird, okay? China wants to talk to Goldman. They want them to respond to a report that questions the strength of the Chinese economy. I mean, I don't know what the guys are thinking, but you know, it's kind of laughable that they think they could put a muzzle on Goldman too. But maybe they say, well, we're going to kick you the hell out of China unless you play by our rules. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's what's going on. NVIDIA wants to be an anchor investor in this new ARM IPO. I think that's coming out of SoftBank, if I'm not mistaken, and it's going to be listed here. It'll be absolutely an enormous deal, and it'll probably be hot. And we'll see what happens. Okay, the UAL CEO is speaking with the FAA amid complaints about air traffic controls. You know, they're not doing their job. There's not enough of them, etc. I know Sunday, like the whole East Coast was closed down, and I've tried to get out since Monday out of New York, and the first flight I could get was Thursday, which shows you how backed up things are. Saudi Arabia lost $11 billion in their sovereign wealth fund last year, but they do have close to 800 billion. So, you know, a little bump in the road for these guys. The Senate is working on a bipartisan act to regulate crypto. They think there should be regulation instead of what's happening, regulatory action versus the SEC, which bases their action on enforcement. There should be like rules to the road. And I think that makes a lot of sense. The woman on TV, the senator, I don't know who she was, but she really sounded very intelligent, and you don't get that a lot from politicians. So that was encouraging. So then here's the problem with inflation, guys. You have a lot of different groups, unions that are flexing their muscle here, trying to get wage increases. And in UK, it's a really bad situation. I mean, there were like 3 or 4 articles this morning talking about wage inflation in the UK. So here we have, now it looks like actors are going to join writers as far as the picket lines. There's not that many people in that union, I don't think, and it's not so significant, but we'll see what happens with other unions. They're asking for more money in the face of everybody but Netflix, not doing so well. Okay, so just another expense for these guys. And then you have the UAW, which is doing the same thing, and they're going to go after their 3 guys. You have the UPS situation, right? So there's a lot of unions trying to flex their muscles here. UAW wants like a 14% increase. These guys make, I was kind of shocked by this, $70 an hour. So that's $145,000 a year. Plus they get a lot of time off, and they get retirement benefits, and they get medical benefits. So it probably comes up to probably $200,000 a year for these guys. I'm not saying what they should make. I have no idea, but it's a real push to get higher wages in the economy. So there's a lot of unions, and the administration is very pro-union. All Democratic administrations are pro-union. That's their constituency. So you have that, and wage inflation. We'll see how that takes hold, but the numbers are the numbers. So that's that. Elizabeth Warren is getting involved. Whenever she gets involved, you got to shake your head. Google and Meta getting customer information from H&R Block. Then you have that Microsoft Activision situation that came out yesterday regarding vertical mergers. Okay, a vertical merger, if you guys don't know, it's basically going into a business where you currently don't compete with the company you're taking over. So like Microsoft was not in the gaming business. Okay, so these vertical mergers look like there's a clear pathway for more deals, right? So one of the analysts today mentioned Take-Two is on the block, Roblox, EA, Ubisoft. Those names could be on the takeover block as well. All right, and then you have this morning, you have the UK saying they want to examine this deal. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a July 16th or 18th deadline on that. So you saw what happened with Illumina. They were taken over, what? I don't know, whatever the name was, Greta or something like that. July 18th. Thanks, Beth. So how do you address the UK's concerns and still close by the 18th when today is the 12th? Not too easy. And Illumina got sued for $400 million by the EU this morning for closing their deal without approval. So I think they're going to close it anyway. That's my particular opinion. And they're going to flip them the bird and say, sue me. Okay, we've been down this road before. I think they're going to close it, but we'll see. All right, the stock is, I think, down a little bit this morning based on this. Yeah, not much. I think they're going to close it either way. I agree. Fuck you. Okay. I don't think she meant to write F, but whatever. I hope not anyway. Okay. What else is going?
That was because I said F you to the UK. I said I agree.
Oh,
that they would close. Okay.
Yeah, I think I definitely think Microsoft.
I'm not
flips
saying
them.
that to you, my friend. No.
Yeah.
I
think
don't know why you had one there, but I'm just saying it. Don't go there.
Okay. All right. So they're going to flip them the bird and they're going to close. That's my opinion. All right. But we'll see. So they're saying like now all, you have great demand for all these rare earths now. Lithium demand is up 3x over the last couple of years. Copper, cobalt, 70%, nickel, 40%, et cetera, et cetera. Investment is up 30% in the US on these rare earths. China has doubled their investment, but you need a lot of stuff. So, there's pockets of inflation, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's the big stuff. And we'll see how that goes. Okay. The United Auto Workers, that's a big union. I don't know how big it is with the writers and the actors, but I would imagine it's not a big chunk of people, but we'll see how that goes anyway. CMG, Chipotle, is testing robots to make your food. Okay. So that's, I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever, it is what it is. Ukraine, they have that G7 meeting, right? And so Ukraine, this guy is trying really hard to become a member of NATO. Okay, so they don't have to fight the war by themselves, right? They would have people fight for them. NATO saying, as long as you're in a war, you can't belong to NATO. But at the end of the day, and Ukraine wants them to set a timetable for getting in. Ukraine wants security and all this other stuff. They want a lot of things. I want money, I want arms, I want everything. But the fact of the matter is, they're kind of like mercenaries for the G7, right? They're fighting their war on Ukraine's grounds and trying to weaken Russia. At the end of the day, it sounds like Ukraine is going to be part of NATO. And what Russia tried to do to keep a little buffer zone, it looks like it's completely backfiring on them, like Sweden, Norway, all these countries are going in. Ukraine are going to be part of NATO, and basically Russia's kind of sort of surrounded, and they got all kinds of issues. So we're not going to. Thanks, Lightning. Yeah, I saw that stock dump. So that's the Ukraine, and now we're giving them cluster bombs. Russia's saying if you use cluster bombs, we're going to increase the type of weaponry we're using. Yada yada yada, that kind of thing. All right. Same old shit, right? Basically. I mean, right now we're just more interested in inflation and how these stocks are performing, and guys, basically underinvested and panicked. That's what we're seeing from our perch, right? Disney is looking to sell their division, their India business. Stock is up a little on that. VMware is up because of what happened with VMware. They won either EU or UK approval to do their deal. So that stock is up yesterday and it's up more today. That deal looks like it's going through as well. Netflix was upgraded by UBS. Okay, so I'm out of time, so I'm just going to give you the highlights of the research. On the long side, the real highlights were BABA, DraftKings, TGI, and Netflix. The short side was SILK, Redfin, Foot Locker, Coinbase, and Apache. And if you want, and GM was also on the buy side. Okay, so that's the down and dirty on that. All right, and listen, futures are. Is this a blow off top? Who the hell knows? But I am going to wait a few minutes before I get involved to see if the rally holds. I'll look for weakness in the morning. If I don't get it, I'll have to play the long side. Okay, so that's it for me. Spartan, it's all yours, my man.
Alrighty, thank you, South Beach. Morning. What's going on, guys? So if you guys are new to chat and haven't already done so, make sure to click on the Discord link that is emailed to you. You're going to pop it in chat. It's going to look something like this. Looks something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, disclaimer section, click on that, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you got a link to the disclaimer, as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, guys. Most important ratio in trading, so definitely worth checking out there. Continue to scroll down. We have summary of how this chat works, breaks down all these channels work on the left-hand side, so you can properly navigate the chat throughout the day. That is important in order to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works. Sorry, we have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side. Pretty straightforward there. Breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward. Spartan options rules that we have below this for the options rules on the options ideas that we trade every single day. SPX rules right below that for the SPX ideas. Anyone with a small account less 10K, breaking down if you do have a smaller account less 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You have a better chance of growing your smaller account, in our opinion. And lastly, how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective. And this just breaks down how to overlay your own criteria on top of the ideas, so you're left with only things that do make sense. High conviction small account trades posted in that area when they do make sense, primarily credit spreads every single day. And yeah, that's it. Pre-market tickers on watch. Let's take a look at what we got going on. So if you guys are watching the YouTube stream, you can simply just pause it and read. There you go. You can also see, obviously, all the charts are posted. And then lastly, on the option side, you have the same thing from Beth. There you go. Okay, so pre-market tickers on watch: Tesla, DPZ, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Zoom, AULT. So Tesla gapping up typically with the CPI. Say it was NVIDIA, Microsoft, and ZM. DPZ, Domino strikes deal with Uber to list Domino's menus company. Domino's hopes to generate 1 billion new sales through deal. Company says gapping up on that. AULT Alliance issues a letter to shareholders. They're talking about their book value being significantly undervalued, so they got a pretty big pop on that today. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, first two we're looking at, guys, gonna be that Tesla and DPZ. So let's have a look. Okay, so Tesla, guys, pivot to the upside today is going to be 375. So 372.75 level holds, 378.76, 384.32. Unable to hold 369.92 or 62 to 364.82 downside, leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push higher to the upside today, in my opinion, on that. DPZ pivot 387.01 level holds, 394.90 to 403.46. Unable to hold 380.80, 370.56 downside, leaning bullish neutral there as well. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to hold. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Let's take a look at Microsoft here. NVIDIA pivot 427.45 level holds, 433.25 to 440.16. Unable to hold 419.44, 413.91 downside, leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push to the upside today if the pivot point is able to hold there. Microsoft pivot upside today. 335.40 level holds, 338.06, 340.69 on the upside. Unable to hold 332.55 to 328.815 on the downside. Nice little curl off the lows. EMA support reclaim on the daily 13 looks great for continuation higher, in my opinion. There, let's take a look at Zoom and AULT. Zoom pivot 69.90, pivot holds through Nords. Sorry, guys. Still got that cough. 70.85 to 71.59. Unable to hold 68.63 to 67.50 on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning bullish neutral there. AULT 720 pivot level holds 814, 910. Unable to hold 645, 567 leaning bullish neutral at the gate and looking for pop topping. All right, let's take a look at these names from a let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG, I should say. So let's do that. Let's write this out as I usually do. Okay, so SPY guys, 445.35 pivot to the upside today. This level holds room higher into the 445.98 resistance breaks. We see the 447.14 tested. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower into the 444.56 support breaks. We see the 443.82 tested. Leaning bullish, neutral on the market today, looking for a continuation push higher. I think that is reasonable considering everything, especially with the CPI range break to the upside. It's going to be about holding above that recent range high now for continuation. But yeah, looks good. I think we could see a potential squeeze continuation today too if it holds. Apple pivot 189.25 level holds 192.75, unable to hold 186.63, leading bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon pivot to the upside today, guys, is going to be 129.78 level holds 132.70 to 136.32, unable to hold 126.19 to 120.77 downside, leading bullish neutral. Netflix pivot upside today is going to be 44.22 level holds 448.66 to 450.88, unable to hold 439.77 435.74, leaning bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at Meta pivot upside today, guys, is going to be the 331 level holds 306.54, unable to hold 294.35 288.86, leaning bullish. Finally got that range break to the upside. We got room there for continuation. Let's see what happens. And then Google, which I'm kind of like meh, I don't really care about. Today 118.86 level pivot, in my opinion, level holds 121.15 to 122.76. Excuse me. Unable to hold 117.69 115.59 downside, leaning bullish neutral, in my opinion, if the pivot point's able to hold. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. VIX pivot downside 14.11, unable to hold 12.98, able to hold 15.10 15.89. Not leaning any particular direction there. QQQs pivot to the upside today is going to be the 370.74 level holds 373.35 375.14, unable to hold 368.44 to 365.47 downside, leaning bullish neutral there. And last but not least, guys, the SPX is going to be pivot. Oh, let me pop up that daily chart. 44.59 level holds 444.92 to 450 or 45.32, unable to hold 44.39 44.14 downside, leaning bullish neutral there as well. So that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. If you guys popped into the YouTube stream, thanks for coming in today, guys. We do this every single Wednesday. We'll see you guys next week. Any questions, go to spartantrading.com, answer you guys there. And I do have some promos on my Twitter page that are pinned to the